Good day, everyone. I'm Dua, and thank you for joining this meeting. This should be a brief meeting to discuss the upcoming to October 2016 proposed trip to Kemet. I want to go over the information on the website, as well as information about the whole reason for the trip and what is going to be done, go over the itinerary, and then take some questions, and then we'll go on from there. So I'm going to open up the desktop and go to the website that has information. We'll go over it, and then we can do questions and answers if anyone has any questions. Oh Mamurata, oh Mamurata, oh Mamurata, oh Mamurata. That's it. Do I to everyone for joining once again. This is the orientation meeting, our first meeting to discuss the upcoming trip to Kemet in October 2017. This is the trip to Kemet page on the EgyptianYoga.com website. And what I want to do is to go through it and then see if there are any questions and so let everyone know exactly what this trip was all about. You know that we went to the trip to Kemet last year, 2015, and that was what we might consider a full tour. We went from Cairo all the way down to Abu Simbel and everything in between. And this trip is first of all, I should say it has a special itinerary. It's a shorter itinerary, and so therefore it's going to be lower cost. But there is a special reason for that. This is the first in what I hope will be a series of seminars, of special seminar trips to Kemet. And they are going to be related to specific teachings and specific gods and goddesses and philosophy. Specific teachings that will be done once per year, and they will contain special teachings of what I would call important teachings for enlightenment, and special work that is to be done there for enlightenment, especially taking into account the times that we're in. And many of you have heard me talk about this already, the state of the world, the economies of the world, the state of climate change, and so on and so forth. This trip is dedicated to intensive work, of a study trip, and it's going to be for spiritual work, for internal work, for meditative practice, and for direct insight into the Egyptian mystery teaching. For those who want to, shall we say, fast track their spiritual practice, and I'll just leave it at that for now. I think those of you who know me know what I'm talking about, but because several people are going to be seeing the video. Some of you have not gone to Kemet before, and this trip will take that into account for those who have not gone before, but it is really also, it'll be especially beneficial for those who have gone before and for those who have been reading my books and have attended any of the lectures or seen any of the videos. So there's plenty of time to do that between now and then. So this is not going to be just a tour, a sightseeing tour. This is not just going to be for entertainment. There will be some entertainment and there will be some sightseeing, but it's not primarily only for that purpose. So this is a really, and I should say also that I've already been asked. So the theme for this trip, as you're going to see, will be the teaching of Asar and the Asari resurrection. And I've already been asked a theme for the next one. So that's kind of enthusiastic already that I've been asked that, because the next one was going to be for Aset, and someone made a special request to do for Ma'at, and so we can do a dual. Next year we could do a dual theme and also incorporate the Aset temple, but that will be for the future discussion. We have some of you are joining from the U.S., some from the Caribbean, and there are some people who cannot join because they're working right now. I try to make it earlier to catch some of the people in Europe who are interested and want to go. But in any case, the meeting will be recorded, or is being recorded. So this should be available for later, and then if there's any questions, we can have those also. I'll set it up so we can have comments on the page, and I can answer those questions as well. Okay. Just before we get started, just to make sure everyone can see me, you can hear me, and you can see the desktop, correct? Okay, very good. So we are at the Trip to Kemet website right now, and we're at the top of the page. So I'm going to start scrolling a little bit. This has your basic information. It has a little countdown here. We're about 4 months and a day and a few hours. And these pictures that you're seeing here are pictures from the trip from last year. And so what I want to go to do now is to discuss with you a little bit about the purpose of the trip. As I said, the theme of this one is the path of Asar, Aset, and Heru. And it's really also focusing on Asar. And like I said, next year would be Aset and Ma'at. And I would have a special treat for those of you who have not gone. There's a temple that is in Luxor that is regarded by many as a temple of Ma'at, and there really is nothing else that has survived that is similar. It is dedicated to Heru, but Ma'at has a special place that you see pretty much in no other temple, and so that would be incorporated into the trip and the scripture of the temple. So let's go on here. As I said, this is a study trip. So the main book that is going to be used for the trip will be African Religion Volume 4. And also we're going to use scriptures from the temple itself. And so we're going to be doing studies at the temple, spending hours and hours and all day at the temple if we want. There's going to be lots of free time for you to do your own exploring and your own meditations in the temple. So the book and the temple are going to be used for the studies. And so the evenings we will meet and have discussions on what was seen and the teaching and that was viewed in the temple. And then there will be meditation practice related to the teaching, fellowship, time together to just be together. We talk about the teaching, about life, and many different subjects. Time for chant, time for silent reflection. So this kind of trip is not like a whirlwind kind of every day or two we're going to be changing hotels and running here and there. When we get to the main site, we're going to be very comfortable, and it's a very welcoming place that has invited me to come to do the program. And so let me read here. Egyptian Mysteries of Asar, Osiris and Aset, Isis, and Heru, Horus, said by Dr. Muada Ashby, has been invited to conduct on the dates of October 1st through the 10th of 2016 a special Kemetic retreat on the enlightening and healing week of Egyptian yoga, Simatawi, and Shadab Neder Egyptian mysteries in Abydos, Egypt, at the foot of the Temple of Asar. Abydos is the center of the Asar resurrection teaching of ancient Egypt, with its heart, the Temple of Asar, which in ancient times was the Mecca of the ancient world. Each morning, awaken and purify the spiritual energies through hieroglyphic chants from the scripture and temple. Then visit the temple and imbibe the feeling and wisdom of the Asari mysteries. In the evening, experience enlightening lectures about the teaching and temple of Osiris, and then end the day with soothing meditation on the mysteries of Asar, Aset, and Heru. This program is designed to be an enjoyable immersion in the Shadab Neder Egyptian mysteries for those who seek enlightenment in this lifetime by learning and connecting to the mystic wisdom of Asar and take away the feeling and power to heal and transform life and move towards the goal of life and self-mastery in supreme peace, called Hotel. Now here last week I added a special essay. I was not going to read it now, but I think it would be good if you did go to read it so you can see the depth of the teaching that is being proposed for this trip. I think we're pressing too many buttons here. Hold on. Okay, we're back. Let's read a little bit of it. What is special about a mystic Kemet Egyptian wisdom tour? And that's what we're calling this series. It's a mystic Kemet Egyptian wisdom tour. There are many important challenges we face as human beings living in the world today. Nuclear weapons, overpopulation, disease, war, political and economic corruption, working but not getting ahead, unfulfilling relationships, trouble with children, pollution, oblivious self-serving politicians, and so many other challenges of life, not least of which the looming consequences of climate change. Adding to these is the prospect of growing older and possibly getting lost in the never-ending, though fleeting, problems of life and missing the true purpose of life. A wise saying is, money goes and wisdom stays. This means that material possessions pass away, but the gains of the heart, mind, and soul truly enrich us. The time and energy we as human beings put into working to discover the meaning of life stays with us and serves us in life and beyond. This is why the Mystic Egypt Wisdom Tour, as conducted by Dr. Mara Ashby, is so important. Going to Egypt to experience the ancient Egyptian monuments is meant to be a transformative event and process, and highlight on process. Yet many people, thousands of people visit Egypt every year, and even now. What I mean by now, even now that things are slow, and there's war in the Middle East and terrorist attacks in France and different things like that. Even now, there are still people who go in these troubled times and the climate change and everything, and are awed by what they see and all the monuments and everything, but they're not transformed by the experience. And then I ask the question, why? And so I go into more details on that. So I hope you go to read the rest of that article that is there. So you can see the depth of why I think is so important of doing this trip. And I hope you will have more insight into that. So let's go back to the main page and another section here. This tour of Egypt is unique because in addition to seeing the main sites as most tourists do, we will also have the opportunity to visit and have extended private time in the ancient city of Abdu, city of Asar. Many travelers know that it is not easy to make cultural and spiritual observances when in Egypt, as these may offend the current residents. Said by Dr. Muhammad, Ashmi has arranged a trip where we will be surrounded by an ancient iconography and will be able to carry forth in private and without concern to practice our ancient Egyptian culture, traditions, and rituals without disturbance. This is an unprecedented development.
I gave him some more, she may have moved
so we
forward.
will have that kind of privacy and capacity on this trip as well. And here's just some information about myself. And so I'll skip that for now. You can read about that if you don't know about the kind of work that I do as well already. So now let's just go over briefly the trip itinerary. Let me skip down first so you can see a whole picture, and then we can go there. And here you have a chart of the travel days. Basically, the traveling begins on October 1st, and then we arrive. For those of you who are in the States, it'll take a day basically to get there. For those people who are in Europe, it'll be like 6 hours or 8 hours, something like that. So we arrived on day 2, which is the day 2, the 2nd of October, and on that day, we will arrive in Cairo. We will be transferred to Luxor. Luxor is a city about the middle of Egypt, about the middle of the country, and there we will be staying overnight because we will be arriving late. For those of you who will be arriving from New York, we'll be arriving late in the evening, and then in the morning, the next morning, which will be day 3, then we will begin the first temple tour, which will be Karnak. And then we'll be traveling towards Abydos, the city of Asar. On the way, we'll stop at the temple of Hathor, or Hetheru, in Dendera. And then we'll transfer to Abydos, and probably we'll have our first meeting. It doesn't say so here on day 3, but we'll have our first meeting there. Then the next day, we will be visiting the temple again. The temple of Asar we'll be visiting, and that will be guided. Or I think for the first time we may do unguided, and then later on that day we'll have guidance, and you'll be with me. So one day you'll be looking through the temple kind of on your own, and kind of imbibing it. And one of the good things about being in Abdu in this way and staying there in the city is that we will miss most, if not all, of the tourists because what tourists may come are going to come from Luxor, and they will be like in a caravan, and they will arrive in late morning at the earliest. So if we get there at the opening, there is an excellent chance we will be able to be there alone. And that's one of the benefits of the way things are politically right now, that less people are traveling to Egypt, so there's less chance of having like a whole group of people who disturb each other. I remember the first time I went to Egypt, it was like that. You go to the temples, and it was like a mega crowd, like you were shoulder to shoulder, and there's somebody right in front of you, somebody behind you. Even like that, the trip was awesome. But really, you want silence. Really, you want space. To be, except on the outer court, they were never meant to have, humongous groups of people tracking through and that kind of thing. That was never for that purpose. But Egypt is so important in the imagination of people worldwide that people want to come and travel and see. And so another thing is that you probably have less Americans there visiting. so we can really be more immersed in the Kemetic culture, not the Egyptian culture of today, but the Kemetic culture of ancient times, which is very possible to do because it's so impressive. The temples are so impressive, what is left there. So in the evenings, so in the afternoons we'll be free to do your own thing, to journal, to relax, go by the pool, hang out, or go back to the pool as well. And then the evenings, we'll have dinner, and then there will be meeting, there'll be lecture, and fellowship, like I said, and meditation. And the lectures are going to have a special kind of series. Like I said, it's going to be tying in the visuals from the temple as well. Some of the itinerary may change, but this is generally what is going to be done. If everyone wants, there could be a free day in between, so that people can be kind of relaxed and doing their thing, going to the temple on their own and that kind of thing. And then we'll have 3 more days of visits and of spiritual practice and lectures in the evening. Then on the final day, we will be transferring back to Luxor, where we will be going to the Luxor temple at night. Well, late afternoon and evening. We will be able to do that, and that's one of my favorite places to be, is Luxor at twilight and in the evening. And you'll see why, you'll talk about it, why and how to best benefit from the Luxor temple. And then we'll have so during this time we have been to the Karnak temple and the Dendera temple, and that teaching that has been, or that will be related to this temple, will be incorporated in the lectures. And for those who sign up for the trip, you also have access to these special videos and items from the last trip as well. A special page will be made available with that, and so that everyone who did not get to go with us last time can see how that went and what we did, and I think we have a video from back in the year 2000 when I went also, so that'll be made available to you as well. So there's Karnak Temple, which is just a magnificent, wonderful temple. We'll be able to spend a couple of hours there, and then going to Dendera, we'll be able to spend extended time there as well, and then in the evening find ourselves back in Abydos to begin our Asarian wisdom teaching. And then at the end, like I said, then we will be going to visit the Luxor temple, and then we will stay overnight in Luxor. And then the next morning, the final of the day 10, then we will be returning back to Cairo for return flights back to the U.S. Or Europe, as the case may be. And there is an extension to this that I will discuss at the end. So those who want to stay longer, you can do that. But let me go through the itinerary more detailed quickly, and then we'll get to that. So like I said, on day 1 is departing the U.S., day 2 arriving in Cairo, and transferring to Luxor. I didn't put a picture of the hotel in Luxor because that has not been set yet. And basically also for the trip, basically there are for the full days, there are 2 meals per day, a breakfast and dinner. Those who want to have lunch also, there's an option for that as well. So on the arrival day, you start with the dinner. And then on the next day, we begin. I guess this has to be changed a little bit because I changed the full picture itinerary, but not the days. So on this day, we will be going to Abydos, to start our Egyptian mystery studies. Well, actually, continue, but started the Asari mystery studies. And these are our images from the
scanners, right? That big temple thing, or the little white thing
from last year.
Turn to the Do you have the printer? Oh, well, I just have a printer.
She only has a printer.
This trip also we will be able to spend extended time in the Asari. This is the Asari, and I hope that. I think last year when we went,
your line is now muted.
It was full of water, and I would like to, and that was in June, July, and I have a feeling that probably March is the best because there's the Nile flood is not going on during that time and that kind of thing because the water table rises. And it would be nice if we can go in and walk around the Asari, without the water. So we'll see about that. We know the people there, so there's a possibility that we may be able to have a special guiding tour within the Asari. I'll talk about that also at the end with the extended excursion. This is the entrance of the temple, the outer. Actually, this is the open court of the temple. And this is just a picture of me doing a lecture. This is from here, but this is kind of a similar situation to what we will have there. We will be able to have a PowerPoint presentation and discussion. It's not going to be. It's not going to be like what I'm planning is not going to be, since we'll have 5 or 6 days, we can spread it out. It's not going to be like a 2 or 3 hour lecture per day or anything like that. It's going to be very relaxed and very concise and pointed. And if we have discussion after that, after like an hour of lecture, then fine. But it will be, we're going to make an effort that it will be very relaxed and very concise kind of program. Powerful but concise. This is Dendra. We originally had it on day 5, but it's actually going to be on pretty much on day 2 or 3. So like I said, I have to change this around a little bit. But this is the temple of Heneru, just a glorious site. And this would be on a subsequent trip, like say maybe year 3, there would be the theme would be Heru and Heteru, and then these 2 temples would be the focus. So that could be like for 2018, and so that would be the idea. And but the idea behind that is to do special work and special teaching on site at the temples in Kemet, and to receive a series of special teachings related to the cosmic forces and their meaning, and to do the spiritual work year by year to elevate and to reach an apogee of spiritual practice. That is the purpose of doing it in this way. This way also, this trip is, like I said, also, it's going to have a component for those who have not been there before, who have an interest, especially in the way that I present the teaching. But also, it's going to be a special benefit, I think, to those who have been there before, who now want to have a special concentrated immersion, as opposed to just going to visit. and get the wonder of the awesomeness of that, but they want more. And so that's what this is going to be designed for. This is Karnak. This is an image of the hotel where we're going to be staying, and we're going to be, this is the open area of the hotel for regular guests, and the owner has made a special area. You go back here to the back, and there's a special area with meeting room and a special replica of rooms from the temple where we can have ritual, and we can go to do special meditations and yoga programs as well. And this is a picture of the meeting room where we'll be meeting. It's air conditioned and very comfortable, as you can see. And this is where we'll be having the evening meetings. And then back to the Abdu temple, the temple of Asar. This is the interior. And we'll be discussing these images as well as the text, the selected texts related to them. So it should be just a wonderful experience to be there and to study the glyphs as well as the images on site, and to be able to actually sit there in front of it if you want, and to reflect and meditate on that image back on your own and in silence and in a relaxed manner, and imbibe, just harmonize yourself with the wisdom and the architecture and harmonics, I hope the harmonics of the temple, to allow that to work and into transforming the whole personality. And this is Sabajat to talk about her. She'll be accompanying, and she'll be doing some portion of the program, not sure yet. She'll be doing a talk, or she'll be doing some guidance as well, hopefully. Again, this is one of the rooms in the Asar temple, and the Asar temple is one of the best preserved temples of ancient Egypt. The art is exquisite. It is like that kind of the height of the scribal art and the height of the artistry and iconography of the wisdom teaching. And we'll have just wonderful discussions about what is happening here and the images and what it means for our own spiritual enlightenment and how to access that. This is the entrance of the temple, the group that was there. And that's the itinerary that we went over. This is the kind of picture that I showed. This is the outer portion that I showed just now, and this is the restaurant that they had, where we were having our breakfast and dinner. These are all pictures of the hotel. And this is the portion that I said that if we go out to this room here to the left, that leads us to the area with the pool and the restaurant and everything like that. And this is the private area that is specifically made for spiritual groups visiting Kemet. And these are the special replica rooms. And here is the conference room. So these are rooms here, as well as upstairs as well. And this here has some information about registering and the cost. The cost, we had a little change in the cost. We were trying to get it below 1,900. It's going to be, it still might be, depends on some estimates that I'm still waiting for, but 1,950 will cover everything that's been discussed, including the airfare from New York and the airfare within Kemet. It is possible you might be able to get a cheaper flight on your own if you want to make a couple stops, say through Europe or something like that. That is possible. And so if you do want to do that, then you can just pay the fee without the air, and then work out the air on your own. Those who want to reserve your spot, as of now, you can go ahead and send a $200 deposit, and I think the instructions are given here somewhere. Send it to CMO Publishing at AOL.com as friends and family, and if you do it this way, they will not charge a commission for sending the funds. And so that way, we'll get most of the funds, and it won't go to PayPal. Or you can send a check or money order. Those of you who know, there's some details about the trip. This is a vegetarian, vegan trip, and no meat or alcohol is allowed. That's against the teaching, and it will thwart the benefits of what you're trying to accomplish by going. So smoking, so on and so forth. The lodging is going to be, as you can see, at least 4-star hotels, and I would not stay in anything less than a 4-star hotel in areas outside of Cairo, and I would not stay in a hotel in Cairo that is not 4 or 5-star, and so we will be sure to have that quality maintained for sure. So there's more information about cancellation policies, waivers, and different things that you should go ahead and read if you're really interested to go. And a registration form to be filled out. When I get to the bottom here, these are some more pictures here of the trip for last year. And the books that are going to be discussed. There are a couple of additional excursions that can be done, and I did not list them yet. The ones in Abydos. There's a special excursion that can be done while we're there, but I've not discussed that yet, and so that'll be added to the website as I get more information. And it's actually a couple of things that can be done there. Additionally, at the hotel, they do healing treatments and aromatherapy and different things that you can inquire if you want to. For those also who want to stay longer, because this trip we are not including Aswan, we're not including Abu Simbel, or the Temple of Heru at Edfu, or Komombo, or Cairo, the Cairo Museum, the Giza. We're not including those other aspects in the main trip. For those who want to stay extra time, after the trip ends, the main trip ends, you can consider doing so and doing an extension to the trip. And this is one that's possible, a 3 days extension. And this will be going to Cairo. And there you can go to the Cairo Museum. First of all, on the first day, it is possible to go to the West Bank of Luxor, which is not included in the main trip, and then going from there to the airport, going to Cairo, then overnight, and then the next day going to Giza, the Great Pyramids, and to the Sphinx, the Great Sphinx, and then going to the Cairo Museum. And the next day going to Saqqara, the mortuary temple, the step pyramid, and everything like that. And then Later, after that, going to the uh, the other pyramids, the main pyramids that are further south, and these are some special areas that I'm going to be going to do some researches at as well. And then staying overnight, and then after that, returning on the next day to USA or Europe or wherever parts you may be coming from. So doing this extension, currently with the prices that I got, will be $576 additional to the main trip cost. And for those who are interested in that, you can send an email for more information, or if you're interested in registering for that as well. On the there was something that I had that I don't see it here now. There was those of you who know who have requested information so far, I've added you to a special Kemet trip group, and that is going to be a private. You're all getting some public messages about the trip, but you're also going to get private messages related to the trip as well, and that is going to have special information about the trip, about I think it's here, but it's not. For some reason, it's not showing up. Now, right here, there's supposed to be an email notices. So I'll see why that's not working in this area here, where you can see emails about the trip, questions that were asked, information, etc. Okay, please send me private messages also. Okay, right. So just send I will go ahead and note it down, but if you can send an email to EgyptianYoga@AOL.com and requesting to get put on the private email list, we can go ahead and do that. Sure. Somebody I want to say a few words.
Udra, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay, that's good. On my phone, I'll have to call back in on mine. Okay, I'll say what I have to say then. What's up? You're welcome. Udra, I don't know where my call dropped. I don't know where my call dropped, but what I was saying is that although Sudama described a longer aspect of the trip and different additions that you can do separate from the main trip that we were planning, is that the reason we were planning this main trip is because, and we felt comfortable doing this because we were planning something for October last year, you know, and then they had the situation in Europe, and they had a couple of situations in Egypt, so then we canceled that. And then we were contemplating again this year, and we weren't comfortable doing the whole big trip with everyone, you know, leading the tours we did last year. So that's why we modified it to this portion that we feel pretty comfortable safety-wise with relative to everything going on in Europe and in Egypt. Because we know the group Abydos. And also, the other reason is because having the access to doing Abydos through this hotel that's there and through the people that we know at the hotel, it's like actually an amazing type of opportunity to be able to take advantage of that situation. Imagine just being there at the hotel a few feet away from the temple that you can walk through several times a day, anytime you want to go after they open in the morning. You know, the ticket is very expensive. I think the ticket is cheap for the trip. And you can get up and walk to the temple. You can meditate in the temple. They don't really allow you to do that. They follow you around. So you're not allowed to do meditation or spiritual practices in the temple outwardly. Of course, you can do inner practices. That's very so, and then some of the people on the phone on this call also have been on the previous trip, and you all are welcome to share your experience at these particular sites for the small portion of the trip. The larger extended portion of the trip, those who want to partake of that, even going to Cairo, you know, you have to consider your safety issues if that's something you want to be a part of and involved in. Even the people in Abydos indicated there have been a couple of minor issues in Cairo, not necessarily involving people, but there are issues going on there relative to things with the government and protests and things like that. So, so for safety reasons, we're not planning the whole big excursion, but I guess in Amaz indicated that, you know, people in Cairo back in maybe some local issues going on in that area. But pretty comfortable with having of the program. Okay. Okay.
Pooja, so I'm back now. Can everyone hear me? Okay, very good. So just to conclude, that's one of the subjects I was going to talk about that Sabaja broached, that I'm sure everyone is watchful and concerned about issues that are going on in Egypt or around Egypt. A flight from Paris was just downed in the middle of the Mediterranean, and they're currently looking for the cause of that, and it could be terrorism, it could be a mechanical or pilot or error or whatever. And so we are considering all those issues, and if we felt that there was any issue, and I've discussed this with the group there in Egypt, as well as the group in Egypt is associated with another group in Europe, in Holland, and they're closely associated. And we've been in communication for the last actually few years, and we agreed that if there's any issue that may come up that affects safety or anything like that, that we would cancel the trip if need be. But my feeling is that this is important work that should be attempted if possible, and not allowing ourselves to be unduly dissuaded, meaning just to not go out of fear or what might happen. We have to have, it has to be a rational decision based on wisdom, and we will be watchful about that as we have been. We don't want to get caught up in any. We're not going to be going blindly into a war zone or anything like that. But this is a definite concern. Last year we went, and things were kind of cool. But then, just like the week before we went, there was an incident in the Sinai, and then during the trip, an incident in Tunisia and Libya, and then in Egypt, they started to have issues while we were there. A couple of terrorist incidents and things like that. Tourists have not been targeted. They're mainly people who are against the system, which is a dictatorship, which is a kind of oligarchic, the rich, same kind of system that we have here, essentially a police state. And if we could go, to a country that did not have that, then we would certainly do so. But there's only one Kemet, and aside from those issues, the Kemet, what is left of Kemet, is so powerful that it really drowns out, like somebody else said, all those things. Even the people, at the temples watching us or anything like that. It's so powerful that it drowns all that out. So if it is possible to do the trip, I certainly think that it is recommended. You don't have to absolutely go to attain enlightenment or to gain the benefits. It's just much more difficult, way more difficult, let's put it that way. Extremely difficult. Kemet is unique in the world because of the vastness of it, the glory of the glyphs that remain and the teaching that is behind them. So if the trip can be done, it is recommended to be done. But it is not going to be done with just blindly throwing caution to the wind or anything like that. That is not going to happen. But also, you have to sometimes extend yourself and fight for the teaching and fight to receive the teaching. And you're receiving it as an initiate. Living in the West or somewhere else in the world is one thing. And enhancing that capacity to receive the teaching is another. So, enhancing it would be having a temple here, say in the States, or in some other country. That would be enhancing it. That is not available currently. Or having conferences and having different programs like Kemet University, all that is helpful. But it's not the same as going to Kemet. So if it's possible to go, you should go. If it's not, then you can still do it, like I said. So that should be understood there. Okay, are there any questions or comments? You can, I think, unmute yourselves by pressing *6. And if you want to speak, otherwise you can put it in the text.
Just say bye. Can you hear me?
Sorry, can you repeat that?
Pooja, I sent a text message. Can you hear me? Uja?
Yeah, Uja, I can hear you now. Go ahead.
Uja Sebai, I sent a text message. This is Shim Marinette regarding those who are booking their own airfare and transit and transportation, how that will work, since we would not be traveling there with the group. Hetep.
Right. I was saying, I think earlier that those who want to travel separately, like not out of New York, you may be able to actually do better than the flight price, by traveling from your city or making a couple of different stops. Instead of just like a direct flight, it may be possible. I'm not sure. And so therefore, we have a land-only price there listed. It might go down a little bit depending on some final estimates I'm bidding for. Let me see if I can find it. So the price of that air currently is $11.34, but like I say, it may go down a little bit. We'll have to see, but that's what it is now. And so for those who would want to travel there separately, what you need to do is to arrange your travel so that you arrive at Luxor at the time of when the tour begins. Which I'm trying to find that now again. Which is the essentially October 2nd. You have to arrive to meet us in Luxor on October 2nd. Excuse me. So that's basically how it would work for now. So of course it will be recommended for people to travel as a group and everything like that. But like situations such as yourself, where you're traveling from the middle of the country, it might be better, easier for you to fly from where you are with a different flight itinerary. And so for those coming from Europe, it's the same thing. Those who are in London or Amsterdam or someplace else, you just need to arrange so that you arrive in Luxor to meet us there all together in Luxor. Does that answer the question? Okay, so regarding transfer from Cairo to Luxor, how will they affect those who book I think I answered that, right? Right, so those who are arranging their own air, I think actually the land price includes the air from Cairo to Luxor. I'll have to look again, but I believe it does. So it depends on which is easier to do. If you want to arrange that part of it yourself, or if you want to take that as part of the package. But it might be easier logistic-wise if you do the whole thing. So then the land package can be reduced by that amount. Any questions about that? We can deal with that separately. So, Frank, on the extended aspect of the trip, you have Abu Rash as a site that is to be visited. Is this the site visit a for sure go, or is it a proposal? Yes, if there are enough people that want to do the extension, then it will be done officially. Otherwise, I will be doing that. Like I said, I have to do some special researches there and in the Red Pyramid. So yes, so if we have enough people to sustain the trip, which I think it's like about we need at least 4 people to do that or something like that, then we will do that. Otherwise, I will probably do that on my own, either before the tour or after, the way it is now. So my itinerary may differ a little bit also, because we're going to be doing some special time there as well. So if there's enough people who are interested, for sure. Otherwise, it'll be done privately. And like I say, there's possibility for some special excursions while in Abdu, so during the week, to go do a couple of special things in the area that are not usually done by tourists. So those will be announced later as well. But those will be like for the afternoon, a couple of hours here, 2 or 3 hours there, kind of thing. Actually, also, this is something I did not think about per se, but you see how the afternoons are mostly going to be free, and if you wanted to, this is on your own personal, we can arrange with the tour guide that some of you met last year. We'll have Adam with us, working with us. You could go for additional trips to Dendra if you wanted to for the afternoon. Or some more extended tours separate, that are additional to the things that are like maybe like 3 or 4 hours away, going and coming, that kind of thing. So that's a possibility. So with this kind of working with this kind of itinerary, it's very allows us to have a lot of flexibility and a lot of possibilities for things that ordinarily are not done on a trip. So the same thing, we could talk more details, in the future, but the same thing will be done like for next year's trip for us. We would be spending more time at the Aset Temple and possibly at Aset and then at Abydos. So we see how that would work out. So if this one goes well, and if there's interest in doing the series, basically they're all going to be connected. The series is going to be a series of special teachings that are done in a special way, year by year, to, like I say, to elevate that Shamsu Uja, the spiritual fire, and the special teaching for each of the divinities that are focused on and their temples and their teaching. Okay, any further questions or comments? This will be the official orientation video for the trip. It's being recorded, so we'll post it later. And then, like I said, there will be, I'll try to set it up so that you can have comments underneath and any questions that can be answered, or you send an email. If you want your email put on the special list, just send a request and it'll be done. And you'll be getting special messages that are not going to be sent generally, things that are related to the trip and questions that might be related to the trip and things like that. And as we get closer, we'll have discussions. Yeah, I think I covered mostly everything that I wanted to cover. So If there are no further questions or comments, we'll go ahead and conclude. Okay, so do up for joining, and we hope that you'll be able to join and that we'll have a successful trip. And by success, I mean that the teaching will be disseminated, that the experience of the wisdom philosophy and the imbibing of the glory of the energies, the harmonic energies, the electromagnetic energies that are still available in the sites, all that will come together to produce a viable and powerful spiritual practice for those who participate. Okay? Om Amudapta, Om Amudapta, Om Amudapta, Om Amudapta, Om Amudapta. Good. To everyone.